G'day guys, Caleb from Have-A-Go Travel in the garage with the big girl, about to play around with it as usual. Today we've got the new Hikit XS throttle controller. Performance mods. And I know what you're thinking. Throttle controllers don't change performance. Well, it's not exactly true. Whilst they definitely don't add any more power or torque, they definitely make drivability a lot better. What is it and what does it do? So a throttle controller, all it does is changes the sensitivity of your throttle. So the XS is Hikit's latest model. So got a twist knob, got a couple of buttons on it. This is a Nissan Y62 specific throttle control plug. You unplug the factory plug, put this in its place, it just piggybacks in the middle. Then this little plug here goes to the Hikit unit itself, and then that's what alters the signal to the throttle. It is actually a little bit bigger than what I was imagining. Size-wise, it's definitely bulkier than ones I've used in the past, but I'm sure functionality-wise, it'll be awesome. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing involved in it. Make sure your car's off. Pull the accelerator pedal plug out, put the piggyback harness in place, put the unit where you want, and that's it. What we'll do, we'll just double side tape it to the dash beside the steering column. That way it'll give us the ability to run the wires down there, and we'll get the plugs in place. Just got a little alcohol wipe, make sure we have good contact on it, let that dry. So as you can see, this red tab up here, that's the plug for the controller. It just pulls forward, and then that just slips out. Yeah, it just pushes in, and then push the red plug back, it'll lock back into place. One thing I will say with these, if you are having trouble, don't force it. So that's the controller, wire goes down beside the steering column. Literally, I don't know if you can see that, just follow the bonnet latch. That's the Hikit throttle plug, and then everything else is just zip tied up out of the way. So that literally took a whole of 5 minutes, job done. We've got off, auto. In my past experience, auto mode's been my favourite mode, and I've found that they adapt really well and learn what you want to do. So that's more than likely what I'll run it on. Got a eco mode or a 4x4 mode. So what this will do is this will actually dumb the sensitivity down. One thing I will say is that's very handy, especially having a V8 four-wheel drive, because when you do bounce up something and your foot actually mashes the accelerator pedal, you take off really quickly. Got a cruise mode, so that must be something to do with cruise control. Sport mode. Actually, another thing I'll show you as well is you can adjust the sensitivity all up and down with these two little up and down arrows, and then you've got Hikit mode. And that's actually an interesting test. So this is off. A small tap on the pedal. This is back in that Hikit mode. Look, there's no way to be 100% spot on with it, but that was thereabouts the same amount of pressure, the same touch on the throttle, but you see the clear difference in rev ranges and how it picks up a bit quicker. Anyway, let's go for a drive. Let's go for a drive and actually have a play with this thing, because it's going to be fun. Just went for a quick lap. First thoughts, holy crap. Hikit mode, that HI mode in 10, it's borderline stupid. Definitely fun in a straight line though. The throttle response and the launch is unreal. I flicked it back to auto, it's still learning how I drive, but the auto mode, I can see it's going to be my favourite mode by far. The difference it makes is unreal. It definitely gets rid of pedal lag. I can't see this saving me anything in fuel consumption, but that's really not why you put these things on. You put these things on to go quicker, to get off the line quicker, and it's definitely doing that. I'm in a love-hate relationship with the size of it. I love the knob. I like that quick adjustment to change to whatever you want to do. The buttons are real easy to press, real easy to find, but the downside to that is the unit is a little bit bigger. It's definitely not as sleek as, say, the X9 model, but as far as usability goes, I like this style of usability better. I think the knob and the buttons are a better setup on it. What I will do though, I'm going to give it a couple of weeks. So I'm heading off to the high country, so we're going to do a heap of different driving styles on the way down there. So in a couple of weeks, I'll be able to give a better opinion based on this unit. But so far, I'm loving it. I think it's a good bit of gear. G'day again, guys. A few weeks have passed. We're back in the garage. Going to give you my final thoughts on the Hikit XS throttle control unit. So I guess the main question is, does a V8 four-wheel drive really need a throttle controller? And in my opinion, yes, but not for making it more responsive, for actually making it less responsive. What I've found is that 4x4 mode is unreal, and you've got the adjustability 1 to 10. And I found in the high country, I generally used it between 3 and 5. Going up the massive inclines, going over fire breaks, all them things, it was just unreal to drive with. It made it so much better. Now, I will talk about the rest of these modes as well. Auto mode, like I assumed, was going to be my favourite mode. And it is. So it's learned how I drive, it's learnt the way I want to do things, it's learnt when I want to be aggressive and when I don't, and it's pretty good. Let's say the Eco mode, that 4x4 mode, it changes the way you drive off-road. There was a few occasions in the high country where I actually dumbed the 4x4 mode down a little bit more as I was driving, and I found that that sort of stopped wheel slip, and it was better, especially for them really steep inclines. It made it so much easier. Cruise mode, I'm sure it does something, but for me, it's not a mode that I would use. The next mode, that sport mode, I find it sharpens up the response enough to make a difference, but not enough to be crazy aggressive. This next mode, this I like it mode, my teenage boys think that's great. I'm getting a bit old, it's probably not as great as I once would have thought. It is unreal how responsive and how it gets up and goes. It's something else. It'll be very rare that it goes into that hike it mode. For me, I don't think the big girl needs it. So the valet mode, I originally thought I'd never get my car valet parked. If you push the valet mode, turn the car off, turn it back on, it obviously won't be in valet mode, which it isn't. But then I realised it's actually for parking. When you've got your throttle controller on like a sport mode or a hike it mode, and it's quite aggressive. So the valet mode takes away that aggressiveness, just a quick push of the button, park your car, when you turn it back on, it's gone. So it's actually quite a handy little feature. So you push that A button, takes you into anti-slip. It doesn't matter what mode you're in, you can just push that A and it'll take you into anti-slip. And what that does is it dumbs it down a lower setting than the Eco 4x4 modes. If you are four-wheel driving and you find that you are having some traction issues, push that anti-slip button, get over the obstacle, get through whatever you're doing, and then hit it again and it's off. So it's, again, quite a handy feature. The other thing that I thought was good was this big red L button. Regardless what setting you're in, if you push that L button, it automatically turns it to launch mode. And what that does is it just puts you straight into that hike at 10 mode, handy and fun. The other thing I will say about the Hike It XS throttle controller is it's actually got a lockout mode. So you can put it into lockout when you park your car, and what it'll do is it won't let you rev anywhere above 1500 RPM. So it's sort of like a security mode, which is a cool little feature. Obviously it only keeps the honest people out. Anyone that's going to steal your car probably has the understanding they can just unplug it and bypass it. But it's still got the feature nonetheless, and I still think it's a cool idea. But there you go, that is the Hike It XS throttle controller. I think it is a great thing. I think there's a heap of fun to be had with it. I think there's a heap of benefits of it. There's a lot of cool features with it. And if you want one, I've actually got a discount code for Hike It, so I will put that discount code, I'll just link it down below. Whilst I don't particularly love the size of it, in the big girl, you don't notice it. It sits there, it's out of the way, everything on the Patrol's big anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But overall, I think it's a good thing. Like always, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions, and I bet you there'll be some interesting ones because I know throttle controllers are a bit controversial at the best of times. Just remember, I'm not saying that the throttle controller is giving you any more power or torque. I just think it's a fun little mod. And of course, if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe. And until next time, guys, go travel.